There's very good reason to understand that the Earth is very similar to one of the many types of meteorites that land on Earth. But which one? How do you tell? Well, I figured out a way to tell, and that is by ratios of mass. If you take one common element, say iron, and you make ratios of mass in meteorites, and you make ratios of mass in the parts of the Earth, then you can find the one that matches. And it's very, very significant, and it led to a whole series of discoveries that people hadn't expected. So I use the same technique to find out what's being sprayed in the air above us, the main constituent. You're exposed to a lot of false information. Some of the false information were release of patents for putting in the air, and the elements mentioned, for example, was aluminum, barium, strontium.
Right.
So people, concerned citizens would capture rainwater after spraying, and most of them would just have it analyzed at a commercial laboratory and only request aluminum.
Right.
Some would request both aluminum and barium.
Mm-hmm.
A few would request aluminum, barium, and strontium. Well, with those three elements, you can make ratios.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did is I took the data that had been posted, the chemical analyses for those three elements in rainwater,
Yeah.
and I compared them to laboratory experiments on coal fly ash. Now, when coal is burned industrially, the heavy ash settles and the light ash goes up with the smoke.
Right.
And it used to go out of the smokestacks, but it is so toxic that in Western nations it was trapped. It's so toxic that it was trapped, but I suspected that that was what was being sprayed.
Because the ratio was similar to what you were seeing in the rainwater?
Oh, yeah. There's some Spanish investigators who made very extensive studies of like 21 different coal ash samples,
Right.
measuring 38 elements. They would put 100 grams of coal fly ash in 2 liters of distilled water for 24 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and then measure how much came out of the coal fly ash and into the water.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real difference. If in the samples of rainwater, something was being dissolved in it, it's not simply aluminum or barium or strontium,
Mm-hmm.
it's salt, the ions of those substances.
Mm-hmm.
And coal fly ash forms in the hot gases above the coal burner. And so it's an alien environment. And so when it cools and it's trapped, it's sequestered, and you put it in water, some of those substances dissolve out. Unlike most dirt, if you take simply a handful of dirt, you won't dissolve any particular amount of those things out. And aluminum and barium and strontium were among the elements that the Spanish investigators had found. So I compared those ratios, and lo and behold, they matched very closely. So I published the first paper in the scientific literature in Current Science. That's a journal published by the Indian Academy of Sciences.
Right.
And peer-reviewed, published. And as soon as that was out, the editor got a damning letter from clearly a disinformation agent, accusing me of being a chemtrail conspiracy theorist and lying and full of lies. And the editor did the right thing. He asked me to respond in writing, which I did. And he was going to publish my response along with that letter, but the author of that letter would not give him permission to publish it. So my paper was published.